Cati and Nathan Blauvelt looked like the perfect couple. She, the devoted wife with a warm smile. He, the respected soldier back from deployment. But just weeks after his return, Cati vanished without a trace. When her body was found buried in a shallow grave, the investigation would uncover a twisted web of lies, betrayal, and a cold-blooded plan years in the making crafted by the one person she trusted most. Cati Blauvelt was never someone who faded into the background. With her sharp green eyes and a presence that filled a room, she was well known around Fort Radon, a quiet military town tucked deep into the hills of North Carolina. Married to Staff Sergeant Nathan Blauvelt, a decorated soldier with a near-perfect record, Cati lived what seemed like a textbook life: a loyal military wife, a volunteer at the local hospital, and a regular face at every town fundraiser. But behind the neatly trimmed hedges and smiling photographs, something darker was simmering, something that no one saw until it was far too late. On the morning of October 12, 2019, Cati vanished. Her SUV was found abandoned just outside a nature reserve, its doors unlocked, keys still in the ignition. A bag of groceries lay scattered on the passenger seat as if she had been interrupted mid-errand. Her phone was discovered under the driver's seat, wiped clean of all recent activity. No signs of struggle, no footprints, nothing to suggest where she had gone or why. Nathan had just returned from a 3-month deployment overseas, reported Cati missing that evening, his voice calm, almost a calm, in the 911 call. He told authorities she had seemed distant since his return, maybe overwhelmed, maybe just tired, but investigators quickly began to notice inconsistencies in his story. The timeline he provided didn't match traffic camera footage. Security videos from the supermarket showed Cati leaving with someone no one could identify: a tall man in a hoodie who never looked directly at any camera. As the investigation widened, old friends of Cati's started coming forward. One mentioned a man named Jeremy Brandt, someone Cati had dated years before meeting Nathan. A drifter type, Jeremy had bounced between cities after a dishonorable discharge from the army. Another friend mentioned that Cati had recently confided in her about strange texts and late-night calls from an unknown number. She had been nervous, but never elaborated. 2 weeks after her disappearance, a hiker discovered a shallow grave 5 miles from where her car had been found. Cati's body was partially buried beneath a thin layer of leaves and soil. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma to the head and defensive wounds on her arms. The official cause of death: blunt impact homicide. Public pressure mounted. The town, once silent and safe, became restless. Detectives retraced her last movements, scoured her digital history, and finally uncovered a deleted backup from her phone. The number that had been contacting her belonged to a prepaid burner phone purchased with cash from a gas station on the outskirts of town. Surveillance footage showed a man purchasing it wearing a hoodie, tall, matching the figure seen with Cati, but it wasn't Jeremy Brandt. The footage shocked investigators. The man buying the phone was Staff Sergeant Nathan Blauvelt. With that discovery, the entire narrative collapsed. Nathan had been spinning a lie from the start. Digital forensics placed him near the nature reserve at the same time Cati's car was abandoned. Soil samples from his boots matched the burial site. When confronted, he initially denied everything, but after hours of interrogation, he admitted to planting the burner phone and staging the entire disappearance. The motive was as devastating as it was cold. Nathan had racked up gambling debts during deployment, tens of thousands owed to people who didn't forgive or forget. A life insurance policy on Cati, worth $500,000, had recently been updated with his name as sole beneficiary. He had planned her death with the precision of a military operation, calculated, covered in enough detail to create a temporary illusion of innocence. The trial gripped the nation. Nathan showed little emotion throughout, his face unreadable even as the verdict was delivered. Guilty of first-degree murder, fraud, and obstruction, he was sentenced to life without parole. But the story didn't end there. Just days after the sentencing, investigators discovered that Nathan had previously filed another life insurance policy for a woman named Lily Anderza, name unfamiliar to everyone involved. She had gone missing 6 years earlier in Nevada under eerily similar circumstances. The investigation was reopened. As for Cati, her friends and family chose to remember her not as the victim of a brutal crime, but as the vibrant, generous person she had always been. A bench was dedicated to her at the community hospital, with her favorite quote, Even in darkness, light finds a way. Her story became a chilling reminder of how easily a mask can hide something monstrous and how justice, though sometimes slow, eventually unmasks the truth.